Studying for the LSAT using conventional methods typically gives you a 1-point score increase for every prep test you complete. That's using conventional methods, meaning that if you want to improve by 20 points, you would do 20 practice tests or roughly 2,000 LSAT questions. And that's, of course, a lot of work. However, there is a way you can double your efficiency and get a 2-point LSAT score increase, but it requires using unconventional study methods. I call these methods the 3 R's: properly reviewing LSAT questions, repeatedly returning to your lessons learned from that review, and keeping it real with live interaction with other students or LSAT prep coaches to get feedback on what you're doing wrong and why. But first, let's dive into the differences between conventional methods and unconventional methods. Conventional methods typically involve taking test after test after test, measuring your results, being happy or sad about those results, then moving on to the next. It may involve reading LSAT prep textbooks. It may involve watching course lesson videos, but a lot of that work happens in isolation. And let's face it, those 500-page LSAT prep textbooks are really, really boring. In contrast, if you could do half the work and get the same score increase, wouldn't that be worth it? I think so. Or even better, you could do just as much work, but get double the score increase you would have gotten otherwise. So what if doing 10 practice tests got you 20 points of score increase, or doing 20 practice tests got you a 40-point score increase, bringing you from a 120 to a 160, or from a 130 to a 170? Obviously, if you're already at 150, you're not going to go to a 190 because the LSAT's only out of 180, but I hope you'll be satisfied just improving 30 points to score 180. It is possible if you study the right way, but again, it requires using those unconventional methods I mentioned earlier, the 3 R's: properly reviewing LSAT questions. I have a framework for review called the Socratic review method. It helps you dive into exactly what's holding you back regarding a particular LSAT question, a particular question type. For logical reasoning, for example, we want to look at the stimulus, the question stem, and the answer choices. If your mistake stemmed from the stimulus, you want to figure out what was it about the stimulus that threw you off initially. Was it that LSAC failed to include key indicator words for evidence and conclusion, or for necessary and sufficient conditions? Do they include annoying words like unless, except, until, and without that are not easily translatable into conditional statements? Of course, if you review the fundamentals, if you get those concepts down, it can become easy. But if it's not currently easy for you, we've got to ID that problem area, focus on it on the side, so that next time you take a practice test, you will get those questions right, even if you got them wrong initially. Now, I also mentioned repeatedly returning to your lessons learned from the review process. So when you are reviewing LSAT questions, you're not looking at the explanation, looking at the answer key, saying, oh, I get it now. How could I have been so dumb? And then moving on to the next. Instead, you actually document your review process to make sure you're engaging in it as thoroughly as possible. I recommend keeping a mistake log or a wrong answer journal. That could be physical in a notebook. It can be digital in Google Docs or Google Sheets or on an iPad or another tablet. But the point is, you've got to get it out of your head to make sure that you are doing it as thoroughly as possible. And if you can, ideally, you keep it real with live interaction to get feedback from others on what you're doing wrong and why. That could involve a study buddy or a study group. It could involve live classes in a small group setting, perhaps, or in a one-on-one context with a coach or a tutor, to have someone else giving you feedback on your analysis of what you're getting wrong and why, to make sure to really hold your feet to the fire, to hold you accountable, to make sure that you are engaging in your review as thoroughly as possible, to make sure you're not going to make the same mistakes going forward, because you are extracting the full insights and key takeaways from the questions you're getting wrong. Because of course, every question that you get wrong is an opportunity to learn something new. And with conventional study methods of just churning and burning through the practice tests, you're not really getting the full value out of the work that you're doing. Of course, you are measuring yourself. You are getting some exposure to practice questions. But if you aren't extracting the key takeaways from the questions you got wrong and the questions you have difficulty with, of course, you may be more likely to repeat those same mistakes again in the future. Now, if you'd like my support with the Socratic review method framework, if you'd like my support in guiding you through documenting your review process with that mistake log or wrong answer journal, if you'd like my help in keeping it real with live interaction in a one-on-one coaching context or in a small group setting, there are, of course, a variety of ways that I could support you in taking charge of your prep with these unconventional methods to help you get that 170 plus LSAT score with less work in less time, easing the way for you. We have live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You can check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. I don't do any advertising for the channel. I rely only on word of mouth to help get the word out. So you're spreading the word about these videos really does make a difference. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.